Manage. Okay, we're actually live now. Let's see if I can get people asking me to stream on Twitch as well, so I'm gonna try and do that. Oh. Let's see here. Should have docs, multiple outputs. Okay, apparently. Okay, it seems to be. Okay, it seems there as well. Oh boy. I just gotta. I shouldn't care about the chats, but I'm gonna try to get them up on the screen here. I don't know why. I don't know why I stream. I think it gives me this nice rubber ducking feel talking through my process. It's good to also be able to go back. I think it forces me to think about what I'm doing a little bit more. Let's go here just to make sure. Yeah, here we go. Alright, I have them both going. Wish there was a nice way to combine them, I'm sure. Maybe that's what I should program. Maybe I should write a tool that lets me, has one chat for both. I'd be amazed if someone hadn't actually already done that. Okay. Get my set note. Sorry, everyone. Everyone. Looks like there's one person watching. Trying to just set this up so I can see any chats that are happening. And I'm attempting to stream on 2 places at the same time, which is a mistake almost certainly. I don't think it's gonna just make it worse for everyone, I think. There we go. Can I do that on this one? Ooh, strict. Twitch has a nice. Alright. I gotta change. Edit. Alright. Not. So on Twitch, I have coding a weather app. Instead, we're gonna change it to be. Creating the world's worst blogging site. Using JavaScript and Firebase. Okay. JavaScript. Okay. Okay. There we go. I'm expecting to have no one anyway. I don't know why I'm taking the time to do this. Because I'm crazy. That's why. Because I am crazy. Okay. Alright. Should really figure this out ahead of time, right? Okay. kind of got something going. Okay, let's get a web browser over here. So I need to set up my node. It's early in the morning. My node's always a little bit running in the morning because of the heater, so I apologize if I'm sniffling a little bit. I'm not crying, just a little sniffly. I'm gonna try not to touch my face. I know it's gross. Here we are. All right, so I start out, I'm gonna create a repository for this on GitHub. New repo. And this is gonna be Captain Coder. Really, it's not Captain Coder blog. It's just a generic blog site, but I'm gonna happen to be doing it. I'm gonna call this actually GitHub and MD Markdown to blog. The idea I have is I want to be able to take what I want to do is like have GitHub. All right, so I wrote an article recently here. Okay, so I wrote this article in Markdown. It's on GitHub. People can't leave comments here. People were leaving me good comments on Reddit, and I kind of would like them to be able to post comments on my here so that they're stored with the article itself. So were good comments, basically giving me great feedback on how I could improve or things people would like to see differently. And so I was like, well, this should really probably be on a blog site somewhere. And so I kind of want to turn this into a blog. So my idea here is to write, I don't want to have to set up a server and a database and stuff somewhere using some just generic blogging software. I like being able to write Markdown here. I don't want to have to write raw HTML or something, use like a what you see is what you get or Word document file to write my blogs. I really liked it, doing it in Markdown. So my idea is to create a repository, like create a site where I can give links to Markdown files, and it will render it on a site, and then have like a comment section associated with it. That's sort of what I think. I also want you to have to authenticate. I don't want randos. Maybe not. Maybe I won't. But make it so you have to authenticate to post. But I think I probably should. Otherwise things will get crazy. But make it so you can authenticate with existing accounts that you might have. Fascinating. I got 3 people clicking stars on this. That's kind of cool. And 2 people watching it. Let's see, probably myself. That's kind of cool. I got 3 people starring the article and 1 person watching it. That's fascinating. I didn't expect anyone. That's kind of cool. No forks. It's literally just a page with like a repository with Markdown. It'd be nice to have like a generic dev log. So that's the idea. So I'm going to create a repository and call it GitHub blog site, because it's not a GitHub blog. It's a site that we can use like GitHub to write your blog. I know, it's a stupid idea. But let's go ahead and create this repository and see what we can do. Thought it might be fun. As you will probably find if you watch lots of my stuff, is I don't finish. I get lots of ideas. I think this is a problem everyone has. You get lots of ideas, and you're never, there's not enough time to finish them all. All right, so I've cloned it like so. Close this other one. Yeah, so I there's not enough time in the world to do it. I need to master the multi-form technique so I can just clone myself. And then all my problems would be solved. I'd be able to do all the things I want to do. And then be able to come back together. I haven't been able to master it yet. Okay. So, I also got to set up a Firebase. So I'm gonna create, Firebase is cool. It's mostly free backends for web, mostly for web and mobile projects. GitHub blog site. I use it with my students. Oh, or I help my, this is it. I don't need Google Analytics, do I? Doesn't hurt. For student projects that can't use Google Analytics, it's against the law in several states to have some kind of tracking. I'm just not gonna do it. I have it on my other site that uses it. I probably shouldn't show this on screen because there might be some like private API key or something. I don't think they're at some point I'll pull this off the screen, I'm sure, but just setting up for basic. The idea is I want to have it's where all my backend stuff's gonna have. So I'm gonna have like a database here. So in my database I want to be able to basically put links to the markdown that I want to render to the screen. So that's essentially what I'm gonna do here. So in my real time in my Firestore, create a database. So you get like databases for like a gig or something, maybe even 5 gigs of space. Hang on, gotta read this to make sure. Start in production mode, yeah, that's fine. And you pick where you want it to be hosted in the United States. You could also specify a specific region, but I'm gonna do multi-region. This is the one where it's like you can't change it later, that's okay. So what I want to do, I normally use, actually this is the first time I used Firestore. Interesting. I've used, there's 2 types of databases. You have Firestore and real-time database. I think Firestore is their new one and you're supposed to use that, but I've been using the real-time database for a long time. But Firestore I think is what we'll go ahead and use here. Learn something new. I've never done Firestore, so I'm gonna learn is a strong word. I'm gonna play around with it, read documentation, see if I can get it to work. Rules. So my idea is, yeah, so they have it set up so you can specify who's allowed to access stuff in the database. By default, they allow reads. And I think this is saying writes. No one's allowed to write, which is like what I want for now. But my idea is start collection. And I'm gonna call this articles. So the idea is I'm gonna have these links to my articles. So you can do, if I go to README, I want to view the raw. So the idea is I'm gonna post these raw links in here, which will show just the markdown, and then we will render the markdown well, there'll be some JavaScript library that I'm going to use to render the markdown to as HTML. That's the plan. That's the plan. So, document ID, I'm going to call this one. So these are going to be the names of my articles. This one is refactoring chess. Refactoring. All right. What do I got? Refactoring a chess program. Oh, that's my last class plugin trying to help me. Give the collection an ID. Add its first document. Document parent path articles. I feel like this, I'm doing something slightly wrong. I feel like this should actually be articles. I'm gonna call this one GitHub. I'm just gonna say this is where my GitHub articles are. My field. No, that's this. So I'm gonna have a couple fields. The first one's gonna be URL. All right, so that's the actual URL. And then I want another one. Is there a date? Timestamp, yeah. Published at, and we'll go with right now. All right, so those are sort of the two things I want to be able to do, because I want to be able to come in and sort of put a little thing that says when it was published, and then put the name there. I could probably somehow do something smart and get the last commit stamp or something from GitHub, but this is what I want. So the idea is on my website now, I'm gonna connect to this database. I'm gonna get all of the articles. It'll pull them all. Oh, I gotta add, there's another field I wanna add here, name. Lowercase name. Factoring. And I'm gonna call it how I refactored a chess program. I refactored a chess program to use an object-oriented design. Okay. And maybe this is a bad structure, but I'm just toying with stuff right now. It doesn't have to be particularly good yet. Later on, if I decide I like it, I'll probably go back. But this is what you call a prototype. All right, so prototyping. I got my database, my article. So now I need to figure out how to read this off the site. So I know I'm gonna move this off screen just for now, just so I don't accidentally expose something that I shouldn't. But I need to go to get my, there's like a file that I need to get that'll let me connect to my database, and that has an API key, which I think it's going to be public in the JavaScript anyway, but just in case, let me get it. Project overview. Yeah, so on the project overview page, there's this web, get started by adding Firebase to your app. I'm gonna click this web, name of my web app, Captain Coder blog. We're not doing hosting, but you can actually host your files here. I'm gonna actually have them hosted on GitHub, and I'm gonna use GitHub Actions to automatically publish my site. I'm gonna register the app, and then this is sort of the instructions to do it. This ends up being, so here's why I think this is fine. This ends up being in your JavaScript anyway. I don't think anyone can do anything with your API key anyway, but probably shouldn't be just like broadcasting it out. All right, so yeah, so check it out. I'm gonna be using a script tag, and this is gonna be apart. So one of the things I want, I think, is to make this site pure JavaScript. So I don't want it to be like a big application that takes a long time to load. I thought about doing it as a Blazor app, but here is the loading time on Blazor apps is long. I want it to be when we get there it loads, but this, so like this is a site I've built with Blazor. That's a full application that uses a Firebase backend and stuff. It's like 10 megabytes. It's huge. It's like too much. I want this to be as fast as possible. So we're gonna do this. And create a new file. New folder. I like to have a source folder. We're gonna do raw JavaScript HTML, which is madness. I should be doing TypeScript or something, but for now we'll do raw JavaScript HTML. New file. All right. New file. Well, I'm gonna. Yeah, raw JavaScript HTML. Source. I'm gonna create a new folder. Scripts. Create a new file. Firebase.js. Paste this bad boy in here. No script tag on that. Format. And then we're gonna create a new file, new folder, pages. Create new file. This is interesting because I'm trying to do it as raw HTML, but now I'm like, oh, there's all these things I want to do. All right, we're just create an index.html for now. And then my script becomes this thing. Can I do that with scripts? I want to load it. Okay, so now I have to actually do like a HTML head, load my script in here, and it's gonna come from scripts/firebase.js. My pages is in the wrong spot. Move that into my source folder. This should probably be called www.root. Okay. All right, so add in a body. I'm gonna have the world's ugliest thing. Okay, so put a little header. The world's worst blog. And do I got a live preview? Show preview. Here we go. There it is. World's worst blog. All right, so we have this script. It loads. And we're just testing out and see if I can get it initialized to load my connect to the database and load something. All right, so I need to get so here I'm back here. I need to go to the documentation, Firebase, Firestore documentation. Okay. So I want to get started. I need to hook in the correct. I have this. I can actually do that. I think. I'm not sure. We'll keep it here. All right. I need to add in the correct Cloud Firestore, so web version. they really want me to download it, but I want to do they have a CDN version? Namespace. Gotta remember how to do this. All right. I'm sure this is not going to work right. It's like what I've done in. There's like I need to get the CDN version of it. So they want me to be using like NPM to build like an application and like build it together, but I'm gonna be crazy. Maybe I should do it this way and then it like will build properly or build a little bit better. Set up development environment. All right, let's go through their process. They want me to use NPM. So I'm gonna do an NPM project. All right, let's kill some of this. Let's open up my terminal. Do I have NPM here? Node. Which version of Node am I using? 16.7. That's probably the most Node version. What's the latest version of Node? Recommended. All right, I should be using a newer version. Do I know version manner? Yeah, I do. Okay. NVM install 18.12.1. So we're gonna install the recommended version of Node. Since I'm creating a new project, you should try and use the latest stuff, although not always the best thing to do. Okay, come on. Should probably be using like the Linux subsystem here. I'm using Git bash, and I've installed stuff. All right, nvm use 18.12.1. Oh, that's gonna break everything. All right, Node version. That didn't work. Oh, developing on Windows can be rough, man. I should really be on Linux. All right, this is dangerous. All right, let's download this. I'm scared. Should I just keep using Node 16? Let's just keep using Node. How old? Here, changelog. Is 16 long-term support? When did 18 come out? Oh, November, October. It's relatively new because I was using. Yeah. Came out this year, it looks like. All right, let's go ahead and get it installed. Let's do this the right way. I wish my Node version manager was working, but there's probably some path thing I did. All right, I'm gonna have to restart my computer, aren't I? I'm about to make this really hard on myself. Yeah, I have a student who is developing like an learning Angular, developing apps. So I'm helping him with that. Spent a lot of time in Angular. I worked at a company for 4 years where our whole application was an Angular front end and then a Python Flask back end. So I did a bunch of full stack development. at that company. I should say for that company, or and at that company. Both of those statements are correct. So we're installing it, breaking my system, I'm sure. I think back then it's like Node 8 or something. Okay. Node version. Okay. That seems to have worked. Okay, so let's I'm not gonna delete that, but instead I'm gonna say make dir. I think when I do npm init blog site, it'll create a subfolder. Name can no longer contain npm init Firebase. Alright, so GitHub Firebase blog. Not found. Alright, how do I npm init project? npm init. I think I just am supposed to do it in that folder. I was hoping I could do it. Alright. Make dir app. Package name. GitHub Firebase blog. Yes. Alright, so we're gonna be setting up a website in npm using npm. All right, like I don't want it to be like a big React project or anything. I want it to be small. Like I want it to be tiny. So I was trying to do it this way. Maybe I should keep doing it that way. I don't know, man. So I've done this before. This way. All right. I'm abandoning npm again. All right, I can't. No one's watching me. No one cares. I'm flailing. All right. No real coding ever seems to happen when I live stream. That's why I like live streaming it. It helped me talk through the process a little bit. All right. Let's try. All right. I really think I can do this, but I just need to have, these need to be from content delivery network URLs rather than local, because it's not local. All right, create new file. We're gonna call this app.js for now. Put it in there. All right. And we'll put this here. This is really what needs to be here. This goes here. And then I need to find out what the Firestore one is. It is probably something like firestore.js, but let's look up Firestore. All right, Firebase CDN links. They're probably gonna yell at me and be like, you really shouldn't do this. Yeah, here it is. And the most important thing is to make sure that the versions match there. All right, so instead of Firebase, well, I deleted the wrong thing. Jeez, come on. Come on. Why am I so good at this? How am I so good? All right, let's try again. All right, let's do this preview. It's not, that's fine, Firebase. I should rename this. I think it should probably be called app. And module preview, can I, let's see if I get a bunch of, nothing bad in the console, so it worked, right? So it worked. No. Let's see if we can actually do a call. So we're gonna write a function in here. Function. I'm gonna get, all right, so now I have my Firestore. Read data, get data. I don't care about real-time updates on this. I want to import these things from Firestore. Example data. All right. Something like this. Since in addition from Firestore, I need these things. And then with those things from Firestore, yeah. With those things, the collection I want happens to be articles. Okay. So one benefit if I was doing this using NPM and like TypeScript, I get documentation here. So maybe I do want to do that. I'm trying to make it lightweight. I want to be lightweight. I guess I'm already using this sort of stuff, so I guess I'm not lightweight or whatever. Get collection articles. Where? Close these. Get a document. Okay. This is what I care about. Or I care about this a little bit more. Although I eventually want to be able to get all of the articles out, but docref, articles, and then the document itself. I'm pretty sure this is collection, this is document. The document I want is that one. Okay, and then we'll do a console.log doc snap. I gotta be here to do a live preview. Could also get doc is not defined. Okay. Doc, get doc. Missing or insufficient permissions. That's a better response. So what I want to do is I want to make it so I gotta understand the rules of Firestore, and the rule I really care about is yeah, I want to be able to connect to articles. Should be read. Anyone in the universe can read them. So let's look at secure writing conditions for security. Authentication in the cities. Okay, so match the database documents. We want something that looks like this. Allow the user to access in the cities collection only if they are authenticated. Allow read, comma, write if, okay, so I think it's saying allow read and write only if you're authenticated. And I think that's what this is saying. Allow read and write if. This is saying that no one should ever be allowed to read or write. So I think what I want to do is on my articles, I think this seems to be some kind of match. I don't know if this needs to actually be much of anything. I think it's just saying access a value, any document inside of cities. And just for funsies right now, we will say read. Let's say read is true. And allow write false. Comma, let's see. Can't just put false here. If true, semicolon. Okay. Let's publish this real quick, but develop and test. Yeah, I should probably have downloaded a like I've done this before. Firebase, you can download like a local Firebase testing environment. But let's try something here. Git. We're gonna try a git from, and the path is articles slash must be document level. Okay, so I have to go all the way to databases. Okay, databases slash articles slash can I put anything here? Path must be document level. Location. Articles slash blah. Alright. Simulated read aloud. Okay. Access denied for this match. I'm allowed to read. I should not be allowed to create. Write denied, update, and delete. Alright, so I think this is okay-ish. Alright, when I refresh it, boom, I get this response. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. I get a response. How to use that response is a great question. I don't know. So, but we're gonna keep going here. I'm gonna move this into tab so it's just in the background. If you close this tab, it'll shut down the server. But I like to test my server out here. I could keep testing it here. This is nice if you're just like modifying CSS and stuff. It'll keep updating. But anyway, continuing forward. All right, so our app does that. So I'm gonna write a function. Also like live reloads, which is a little annoying. But using the console in VS Code. Turns out VS Code is like a big web app, and it's a fancy console, a fancy web browser for viewing it. The console output, I have trouble following it. All right, so here we go. Function, load, article, and we're gonna have it be a name. All right, like that. And so then the idea being that if you know the name of the article, you put it in here and it will load it up for you. So let me save that real quick just for testing. And this has to be an async. To put async function because I have this await. So that means it's gonna be able to run asynchronously. And then document.onload equals, or is it document.bodyOnload? I can't remember here. Console.log loaded. So after the page is loaded, let's see. That did not do what I wanted to do. Document.body.onload. There we go. All right, so this is sort of like my bootstrap says, once this page is loaded, run some code here, and the thing I want to do is load article, refactoring a chess program. There we go. So after the page loads, it does that. Now I want to, I don't know, so again, let's go back to the documentation here for reading data and see only care about reading data. Get data. Get a document. Okay. Document.data, docsnap.data. What do we get if I do that? Yeah, now we got it. Now we're cooking. Got a JSON object that has everything that I care about. Okay. So my question is, if I pass in some garbage, how do I handle that error? All right, so I get undefined on that. What does docsnap look like? Oh, it still gives me a thing. Is there like an error message? Exists. There's an if exists. All right, so we're gonna do a thing and it says if docsnap dot. You might be tempted to say if it exists, do a thing, but I'm gonna actually make it if it doesn't exist. We'll console dot error could not load article, and let's go with some string interpolation name, and then we'll return. And then if we get here, it means the document does exist, so I can get the data. Was it a method? Can't remember. Doc is not a docs. Yeah, so it's just, hang on. Docsnap.exists with an S. Could not load garbage. Okay. So then we could potentially put some error handling in here. I'm gonna just have it output to the console for now, but I'll probably create a space in the HTML to display error. Otherwise, we've got the data. We'll do const data docsnap.data, and so then we're gonna have that that URL. So console.log data.url, console.log data.name, console.log data.date. Let's take a look here. Well, what did we call it in the database? Published. I think it was called published at data. Published at. There we go. So we have seconds, nanoseconds. So that's probably since the epoch, January 1st, 1970. All right, there's our URL. There's the name. All right, so let's create a bad spot here. World with blog h2. That's gonna be our loading. So this is gonna be article name, and then we'll have a div beneath it. Probably probably put a div around, actually, let's put a div around this whole thing. So Stein, div class is gonna ultimately be article body, or just call it article. We'll call this article class, article header, and I probably don't even need to do that. I could probably have it based on it being an article, so we'll just do an H, do another H1 here, because it's a header one. I don't even know if I need that, because in my yeah, you know what, I don't think I need that, because in my article itself, so if we go to that URL, this one, the article itself actually starts with it, so I want that to, I want this to get converted to HTML. All right, so this is, we'll have a div article, class article ID equals article. I don't know if I need both of these. All right, so then the app, we're gonna take, we gotta actually load that content, but in here we should say loading. And we gonna, maybe this should be get article, load article name. We want to go and we need to like do a request to get the body of that raw URL. So I think the typical way to do is a XML HTTP request. So I don't even know if, I think there might be some, so this is like the way, the like core way to do it. Okay. So we're gonna do this, something like this. So we have the URL. Add event listener, get data, data.url, oops. And on load, so we're gonna create a function, on load article. Like this, what are we supposed to accept here? Nothing, just this dot response text. Okay. Let's see how we do here. Pure JavaScript solution. Highly do not recommend this way. Let's see what happens. Yeah, check that out in my console. It loaded that up. Okay. And now I need to, I'm gonna get a JavaScript library to do this, but for now, we are going to do the following. I mean, there's error handling stuff I need to do, but the basis is if things work, I'm gonna do document.get element by ID article. Is that what I called it? Article, yeah. Dot set inner set or dot inner HTML equals this dot response text. So the idea is I'm gonna have a library, I'm gonna find one, I'm sure they exist, and if they don't, I'll be real sad. It takes my markdown and converts it to HTML and then just sets it in there. So now I get this nice, horrible, all the text mashed in there. All right, so let's find a library now that will do markdown to HTML. Markdown to HTML JavaScript library. Showdown. All right, go with the second link. This one looks like the website, Showdown.js. Download. We're gonna use the content delivery network. This is the latest version 2.1.0. Yeah. So we're gonna select one of these. Showdown minified, that's probably what we want. So we'll start with that. Right, in my index.html, script source equals this. Alright. That's interesting. Did I change? Oh. Yeah, I keep wanting to do the backslash like that. HTML is interesting. If you don't have a body, you typically in XML style would put a slash at the end and say, oh, God, this doesn't have a body. I'm used to programming, or used to is a strong word. I've been programming in Blazor for a while, which is the .NET framework, and that has the backslash there. All right, let's keep moving. So I got Showdown loaded up. Let's see what example they give. Docs. Showdown doc. Okay, well, that's a little less than what I wanted. Let's see what they say. Heading styles. Well, I want, all right, CDN, syntax, paragraphs. I want to, okay, well, what's the line of code I need to, what's the code that I have to do? Oh, quick start, sorry. I'm just not reading, I'm not looking at the documentation well. R showdown equals require showdown. Browser client side. Okay. So it looks like it's gonna be something like this. Showdown doesn't sanitize the input since Markdown relies on it to parse certain features correctly into HTML. As a result, this may lead to potential cross-site injection vulnerabilities. Yikes. Might have to work out. Might have to figure out how to avoid that. So ideally, I'm only loading from pages that my database allows, so it should be semi-okay. But let's keep going here. So we should have this new showdown converter. This code is fascinating to me. Should this be a semicolon here? Const. I don't need the text. Const HTML, and then this. HTML. Let's see what that looks like. Response text is not defined. This dot response text. Hey, looking pretty good. Does this let me jump? No, my table of contents is broken. It's a little sad. The images I need to go through, and if there's like, so there's some trickery I need to do, and one option would be in the actual markdown I write, put full URLs. So these are like assuming that you're on GitHub site. I'm pretty happy. That worked out pretty well. So I can give it a URL to the code blocks need to be a little nicer. So I need to get like some formatting stuff in there. And I'm not bad. But yeah, it's looking for the images on my site, source, root images. So I need to do some kind of hackery there to make that work. But some cool progress. Okay. Other than that, yeah. All right, so I got a little library here that will make it somewhat easy to load my. It's kind of cool. Okay. So the question is style. How do I style it the way I want? Configurations. And the styling probably. Well, let's look at the HTML that gets output elements. I don't like how many. The errors are just because my images can't load. Yeah, so now I should be able to add styling just based on that. Let's see if let's look at my code blocks. I'm curious about my code blocks, if they tell me, if I get any information about them being C#. Yes, I do. C# language C#. So it automatically does that. So I might be able to get a library that formats data. So in my markdown, I specified what language to use here, and so looks like I'll probably be able to use another library to nicely style those. All right, but now that I have this here, let me see if I can get my images working. Let's see, what are the images? The URL for the images are. It's just trying to go to images / my response. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to rewrite all of the images to look at the GitHub base, the base GitHub. So in my database here, image base. I'm gonna add a new string here for image base, and the idea is then I would input. Maybe I could hang on. I could probably do it just based off this. Yeah, I need to just drop the README at the end of this URL. Okay, so I have that URL. So load article. We're gonna do this. We're gonna make it so load article is gonna accept a parameter and then be on load article. This is gonna create what's called a continuation. We're gonna do the argument's gonna be image base URL. As long as I don't link to images outside. All right, and then this is going to return a function that does this. So I have onload article now. Const like this. Onload article now. It's gonna take in the. This should just be called base URL. Oh, and I removed it, so it was just URL. Let's do URL. Article URL URL, and the article URL is data.url. Maybe I should just pass the whole data object in. That might be better. We'll go with data. Make sure I haven't broken anything. I broke everything. Should be equals. Undefined property. Alright, I'm breaking things. Let's go back in time here. Yeah, when I do, okay. Function article equals this. Wants to treat this as an object. I want the data to be in there. Is this not response text? All right, brain, you can handle this. You can get there. On article is the function. It has a this. All right, so return load. Naming is so hard. Render article this comma data. And then I still have to get data there. All right, we're gonna do a local function. So we have, all right, function onload article is this. I hate it, but I want to have access to data. So this is like a function that has the context of this thing, I think. Yep. And now I should be able to do sub access console.write console.log data. Should still have data. Yeah, I do. All right, so with that still available, I can use the URL to like replace. So I'm gonna go through this and find image tags and update all of them. So HTML dot make HTML. Does that return a string? I hope not. I hope it's like a DOM. It is a string because I'm doing inner HTML like this. Okay. So then once I have that, I should be able to do const article div is this. Article div dot inner HTML is that, and then article div dot select. Get elements by tag name. I want to get all of the imgs. So const imgs equals this. Console.log imgs. So the idea is now that I have all of these, I'm going to go through, collection, replace and update all of the images. So I do a for images.for each. Console.log I. Does this have a for each on it? Save. Doesn't. Uncaught. No for each on those. For let I of imgs. Can I look through it like this? Console.log I. There we go. So I can access them this way. Okay, and I would like to add in the front, so I need to extract out the URL from data, everything before the last slash. All right, so and then add it to my so I dot source is going to be equal to, so the idea here, let's see if I can get it working in this example. So I'm going to take this plus I dot source. So that's essentially what we want to do. Let's do string interpolation here. So still doesn't load though, still saying the URL is wrong. All right. Because it's adding, it's interesting, it's adding source. Oh, because I need to get, interesting. That's fascinating. Okay, let's undo that. For some reason, the source is although I have this as my source, I want to get, okay, so can I get the source actually is this long thing. I really just want I dot get attribute src console.log. There we go. This will get the attribute, the actual source gets prepended with the server information. Okay, so instead it should be this. Oh yeah. And then we get our images. Look at that. Okay. All right. Making progress. Making progress. Okay, cool. So some progress has been made here. So we sort of have this, the world's worst blog is loading its content via database. So I have a Firestore database. Oh, that's right. I gotta swap this out with, but I have it set up so it can read the markdown. So it's reading markdown from my GitHub repository. So it's reading this raw markdown, and it is rendering it in this horrific way. But we're able to convert the images nicely here. What's this? I'm doing a console log somewhere. Maybe? Where's this coming from? I don't know. Oh, that's just the terminal. Okay, let's keep going. Have this image. So the idea is I have a string. My URL looks like this, but has something at the end. So I need to find the last index. So const base URL equals data.url. Substring dot, does JavaScript not have a substring? Shit, it's got a foobar dot substring 02. Okay, index. Okay, substring from 0 to, and we have to find the index. Const ix is going to be the last index of the slash. Foo.last index of, yeah. Data.url.last index of / ix plus 1 because I want to include it. And so this should end up being base URL followed by the source. Not quite. Base URL is not defined. Oh, because I called it base URL here. Yeah, buddy. Okay. So I guess the ultimate test would be to try and do it with a second with a second article just to test it out. So let's try it with an older version of, oh, and my jumping, I can't jump down to things. So I was wondering, that's right. So I want to go through and I need to make, yeah, so ID refactoring a chess program in C. All right, so this one does the IDs a little bit differently than these. So I think in my, so on GitHub, the headers have dashes between them. So I wonder if, what about ones that have, anyway, so my jumps don't work properly. That's something I'll have to fix. It does create IDs for these, so it should be able to, so if I did my response, it would jump down to this section like so. But it's not doing that because the format's different on GitHub and my site. So on GitHub, it puts them with dashes, and so all of these table of content jumps are different. Although it did sort of look like maybe in our showdown, I saw a thing, configuration, available options. Let's see what it says for headers. Header ID. Customized header ID. So it'd be nice if we could do customized header ID to do something different. Set custom ID for heading. GH compatible header ID. Okay, for better readability and human friendliness of the heading, it's also going to set the GH header to GH compatible header ID. Okay, so I gotta set an option here. Let's see what this thing says. All right, let's try it. So I gotta set options. Show down the options. Let's see if it show down. Setting an option globally. Okay. Mike, this code's gnarly, so we gotta go back. We're gonna have to go back, refactor it, make it nice. This is my prototype. I'm just trying to see what I can do. When I make it, maybe I should do this. All right, so the option key happens to be default value is false. If I do this to true, do my headers. Yes, my table of contents worked. Nice. That makes me happy. We can jump down to different sections based on the table of contents. The indentation is interesting. These should be H2s, yeah. So what's going on with my up here? This just isn't indented the way that I want it to be. UL, yeah, just made them all LIs except for these ones for some reason. Because the plan should be underneath. Yeah, interesting. The plan should be underneath this one here in the raw markdown, I think it is. I could be wrong, but let's go check it out. Let's go to this. Yeah, the indentation is just not reading the indentations properly here. So there is indentation. It's not detecting it properly. So maybe some option will help us there. Let's look for lists. Disable forced four space indent sublist. Yeah. So it's not 4 spaces. I use a tool to generate that table of contents. Disable. So let's see if I do this to true, do my lists rendered properly. They do. There we go. All right. This is exciting. This is exciting. Happy day. Let's do a work in progress commit. Oh, app git status git add. I only have 2 files. Beautiful. That's what I'm going for. Simple, small. What is this commit? Chore. I'm gonna do work in progress. WIP. Prototype load from GitHub working. Okay. Do a push there. So it loads the article. Styling would be nice. So let's see if we can get a little bit of styling on there. So I am happy with it loading this way. Let's make it a little less gross. All right, so let me think. There's 2 things I want to do. The first one is, there's 2 things, the order in which I do them, but there's 2 things. The first one is that I would like to get, there's multiple things. Get the styling better. So right now it's pretty horrific styling. All right. And then I also want to do a Suantian. Yes, I'm using vanilla JavaScript. Very, very small. So this is just a prototype to see if I could get this done in general. But yeah, I'm using vanilla JavaScript here. It makes me very sad. It makes me very sad to use vanilla JavaScript. It's painful, but I just wanted to see if I could get it done here and make, this is a prototype. This is a prototype. I didn't want to go do a bunch of building and architecting just to fall through and not be able to really get what I want. So this is a prototype for me. And I think that the title says it all. It's the world's worst blog. And I'm kind of okay with that right now. The program itself, the idea is that I'm going to be able to load blog articles I write on GitHub in Markdown. All right. I don't know how often I do that. I just happen to write one. Having to choose between 3 billion JavaScript. Yeah. So my main thing is I want it to be as load lightweight and fast as possible. So I'm pretty familiar with Angular. I've used, so I would say most of my web experience is in like Angular. So I worked at a company where we did Angular for, I worked at a company for 4 years where our application was an Angular front end and a Python Flask backend. And so I feel like I'm very comfortable with Angular in general. And I really like TypeScript. I will say that I don't like programming without types. And there's a lot of benefits if I happen to install, or if I was running this as like, if I was building it more nicely, I would have good comments. So one of the things that makes this particularly hard is I have no typed, everything is like an any type and I get no documentation except on like raw JavaScript. And that's just because I haven't installed anything with NPM. Literally just raw HTML JavaScript right now for this prototype. I want my website to be fast. I don't want it to be like the problem with Angular is it like loads the whole Angular app and it ends up being kind of slow. Yeah, it doesn't even have a styles.css yet. That's what I was just rambling about. I was saying that what should I do next is my thought. Should I add styling to it? There's several things that I've realized I need to do. Yeah, so Next.js I think is also pretty fast because it compiles to like a raw JavaScript file that you just put in there. I've never even heard of Astro. But that's sort of where I'm at. So my thought is, what should I do next? Do I want to add in styling to make it so that it looks a little nicer? Because this looks like a website like from the 90s, maybe even worse than a website from the 90s. So there's several things I want to do. I want to add a comment section at some point. So the whole point of why I'm doing a blog is I ended up writing this article about how I refactored a chess program. So when I started doing, and maybe I was just too young, back when the very first website I made, that you could like set background colors and stuff like that, but there wasn't CSS in the very, very beginning, or at least I wasn't aware of CSS. So this was back in probably like 1993, 94. You could set colors. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like, this is actually where you could set colors. You could have like scrolling. You had HTML tags for colors and bolding and styling. So there were HTML tags specifically for doing it, which was fun. Yeah, so I wrote this article and I got a bunch of comments. I posted it on Reddit. I wrote it, so I'm a teacher. I teach computer science, and I wrote this article about refactoring. And I thought, first I did a refactor, and then I wrote an article about it. And I was like, I wrote this thing, I might as well post it somewhere. So I posted it on Reddit, got some feedback, which I liked. But now that feedback's on Reddit, and it's not sort of like attached to this article in any way, so it's like a little sad. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I don't want to install some blog software and run a web server somewhere. Maybe I do, I don't know, but I want to be able to write my articles using Markdown on GitHub like this. But also I want a comment section. I want to be able to have people comment on what I've done. Because, that was interesting. I managed to click a link specifically here. I think I want those comments that people wrote to be attached here so other people can see them and potentially learn and grow from them, because I got really, really good feedback on how I could improve, and I like that. So I thought, why not write my own bad blog site, so that way I can continue writing my articles on GitHub in Markdown, but then this site will load and render them here and provide a comments section as well. All right, so I've been rambling a lot here. So the question I have is, should I add styling next? Should I start working on like a prototype of the comments section? Should I try and get the code to format nicely and get syntax highlighting? So those are sort of my next steps. Looks like I have a couple people watching. So if someone wanted to see me do something specifically, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna try and make it a little less ugly. I think adding in styles would be nice. Just to make it less horrific. Okay, so I'll put this off to my side here, and work on that a little bit. Yeah, I agree. So rather than adding I agree with you, that styling is usually something I do last, but having a little bit of styling would be okay. And included in that would also be adding in styling the code. right? So it's like sort of, those are sort of the same thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in a styles.css next. So let's create a folder, styles. It might be overkill to have a whole folder because I'm basically gonna have a single, but maybe some level of modularity. All right, and in I have an ID article. So I believe, and I'm a little rusty on this stuff. Class is article as well. So I'm gonna do article, div, and this width is insane. So let's get this to be a little less horrible. And I should honestly, I should be using Bootstrap or something, but let's be, we're doing raw everything, lightweight, but Bootstrap and Material would probably be the way to go, but it's the world's worst blog. So we're gonna keep that in mind. Staying on the vanilla train, that's right. Okay, so I'm gonna set a max width to, what is it, like 1280. Now also doing it as pixels is probably a terrible. It's max width. What did I do? Is it just article? Hang on. Let's see. What am I doing here? Elements. I thought that would get it. Class, article. It's not getting. Oh, I know why. All right. Div, article. Really, it's just the raw article. I'm gonna do this as the ID article here. Yes, exactly. I did not connect my CSS here. Link, what is it? Source. Oh, it's always here. Let's do a quick look. Add CSS to HTML. You think I'd be better at this? I've been doing HTML forever, but let's go find the link rel, and do in this one. Yeah, HTML is crazy. /styles.css. There we go. And still nothing. What am I doing? 12. In my console, it loaded. Div article. What? Oh, I just got a little, in here I can type, so is it like in the command palette? So you're saying if I type link, oh, fancy. Thank you. I didn't know that. Learned something new. Thank you. In the comment, look at that. That's cool. That's a nice little shortcut. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. There we go. Now we're cooking. Maybe. Still not connected. Why? www root styles. Oh, styles. So I got typos. HTML likes to. This is why I like languages that. What is? I'm feeling real dumb. I'm feeling real dumb. Is it? All right, hang on. It is, okay, so it is attaching. It's just 1280 is way longer. Yeah, 1280 is just way bigger than I want. I don't like how wide that is, so let's get it even smaller. Okay. 1280 is way too wide, apparently. What is it, 960? Is that the standard size? Is that a standard size? And does it auto refresh for me? There we go. Let's get rid of this. Why can't I get rid of that? Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better. Still think that's really wide. Is that really wide? Does anyone else think that's really wide? That's just, or am I just crazy? All right. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna center this. We'll add a nice little. Hey, should we center it? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and center it. See if I like it. Margin left, auto. Margin right, auto. Centered on the screen. And then let's do a nice solid, nice tone. So let's add some borders. Border 1 pixel solid black on just the left and right side. So it was it top. Can I do this top? 0 pixels, 1 pixel. Is that how it is? No. All right. So border left 1 pixel. Border right 1 pixel. Can I? Here, let's look at the documentation. And if I do border solid black, border top 0, border bottom 0. Know what I want? And I often, here, let's see. I will often do it here directly in Chrome or whatever web browser you're using. I can't just do a generic thing here. That's sad to me. Right, top, bottom, left. Here, let's look at the documentation. Border CSS. I'd like to be able to specify border shorthands. Yeah, it looks like I might have to specifically do solid black on all of them. There we go. Kind of what I want. Yeah, I you know, that's probably the best way to go, is go to like an official documentation. But let's keep cracking at it. My header probably want to be in there, so maybe let's or I need like a bar across the top with WorldWord blog in it. Let's see if we can get that to work. Div and equals top bar, and we'll put that in there. All right. VS Code trying to help me with the auto completes. All right, now that I have that, let's close this out. Let's go ahead and pull this to the side at this point. Is that gonna work for me? Oh, live preview, not working there. There we go. So at least I can kind of see it here, and it'll auto update for me a little bit. Top bar, max width 960 pixels, and then margin. Maybe I should just wrap this whole thing in it. Yeah, that's what I should do. I should be smarter than this. I should create a div called content, like so. Put this whole thing in there. Format. All right, so create a div content, and that's gonna be my content. That's the smart thing to do. Now I have my nice border. Oh, I didn't know that. Look at those fancy tricks. Also, VS Code allows you to do stuff like, that's great. I did not know that. That's really cool. So learning your IDE is like really important. I've actually only been using VS Code for like, I'm an Emacs guy. I used VI for many years, and I used Emacs as like my editor. It's just a text editor for many years. I just lived in a terminal for a long time. Yeah, I don't use VS Code a lot. So the reason I use VS Code is my students use it. Oh, nice, NeoVim. That would be, you know, so I would prefer something like Emacs with key binding like that. But I teach, I'm a teacher, and a lot of it's like bring your own device. And so I need a tool that's gonna be consistent and easy to configure across all of them. And so the other computer science teacher at that school was there before me, and everyone uses VS Code. So it's sort of like, okay, well, learn VS Code. It's a nice tool. It's pretty nice. Not my first choice, but essentially because I use it and I want my students to have a good experience and be able to help them debug, it's something that I have forced myself to learn over the last 2 years. So there's lots and lots of tricks that I don't know. All right, so let's add some padding in here. Padding. So padding is top and sides, and really it's from what I understand, it's bad practice to use pixels for most things. So I'm gonna do 0 and then 0.5 EM. Yeah. And REM would be relative, but this is based on like the user monitor experience. All right, so we're gonna center it in there. Background color. Ooh, antique. Ooh, it's kind of gross. Maybe it'll look okay here if my background color on this is white. Now we're talking. Now we look like a web page from the from the 90s, early 2000s. Beautiful, so beautiful. Okay, and in my index HTML, I'm gonna change this my top bar to having an H1 just for intent. Or is there a title tag? I think title goes in your header. I don't think it works there. All right, world's worst blog. Let's add a little space on my content. Make it. I was gonna use a shadow box is what I was gonna use. I was gonna put a shadow box on either side. You got me there. Yeah, so I was gonna do, and I should probably have down at the bottom, I guess the bottom border should be there as well. Border, bottom, 1 pixel solid black. Like that. Okay. And then I could add in like a side menu. jcollar.github.io. Yeah, so this was like a website I put together for so it's hilarious how similar this looks. This little website from forever ago. All right, I've done this before. I've been here. Add a little box over on the side to navigate articles so that we can have the world's worst blog. Okay, let's keep going. I've been here before though. All of my life. Here, okay. So shadow box. So what is it? Border shadow? Shadow, or is it just box shadow? There we go. And I can never quite remember it, so we'll go to box shadow generator. And I want it to, have it be on both sides, on the left and right side. The default margin on the body. Oh yeah, at the top. I'm gonna get rid of that top margin in a moment. I'll do that first actually. Let's go ahead and do that. So margin 0. Margin top. Interesting. So what I could do is top 0, position. Should I do relative? Absolute. There we go. Is that what we want? Is that how we do it? No. Oh, absolute. Body margin. Oh, it's part of the body. Margin 0. Thank you. Thank you. I like it. I would have gotten there. I would have figured it out. I'm a real programmer, I promise. All right, let's add this box shadow here. I like the fuzzy ones. That's how you know you're in the future, right? Have a fuzzy box shadow with a nice spread. Can I get it to be centered? Yeah, I think I'd want this and this to be 0. Yeah. Okay. It's gonna be something like this. And I think I want this and this to be 0. And now we really look. Oh, why do I have so much extra space over there? Is that the box shadow doing that? What's happening? What did I do? What is so big? Something did that. Hang on. What is making the content so weird? What element is so wide here? It's not this. That's weird. For some reason. All right, let's get weird here. Why is the content so? The page wants to be. Oh, is there just? Oh, I bet there's something. Hang on. But there's something on the page that's giant. I bet there's a giant picture on the page. Or text. Ah, it's the code. Okay, so I have there's some crazy code snippet that comes out here. So this is an article on refactoring. So this code is crazy. So once all right. So I'm not too insane. Look at that, beautiful. Beautiful is a strong word, but yes, we have a thing here. Let's make our, what did I call it? Top bar. Make our top bar. Next, top bar. Border bottom. 1 pixel solid black. Like that. Just so we have it. Margin 0. Padding 0. All right, so one way we can figure out what's going on here is in our web tool. We can see, okay, what this div ID top comes here. It's our H tag. The H tag here is what's creating that border at the bottom. All right, so we can say, okay, well, in our top bar, the H1 tag margin 0. There we go. Like that, world's worst blog. And then our top bar itself, we will add in a small amount of margin 0. But really I want top 10 pick, or if I add in there, that's interesting. Margin 0, background color. Let's go with a horrible blue. Yikes. That's ugly. For now, I'm gonna leave it alone. Again, I'm not. Just want something to give it a little. Oh, close that. Give it a little nicer fill. World's worst blog. Top, right, bottom. Maybe I do want it on the H tag. Top, right, bottom, 1 EM. 0.5 EM. There we go. You're correct. No one's gonna read it if there's no dark mode. That's true. I'll have to add one in. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. We'll add it in there. You are absolutely correct. Without a dark mode, no one will read this. The font's pretty small too, I think, but that is, it's like the default font of whatever the user has on their computer. But I might do something like, what would it be? Font size 1.25 REM. So make it slightly bigger. Or am I just an old person? God, that's... Oh, why does it... Might see how here... Let's see. In VS Code, the font is bigger because I've like kind of zoomed. I think my font size is set differently here. It's so small in Chrome. I'm an old person. I can read this fine, but it feels a little small to me. I would probably have to zoom in a little bit to be comfortable reading it. Anyway, here we are. We've got this going. Now that I got a little bit of styling here, let me see if I can get a library to format my code blocks properly for me. So the cool thing is, check it out. In the markdown itself, if we were to look at the raw markdown somewhere, close these borders off. The raw markdown specifies what language we have it in, and the library I've chosen, this showdown, includes a class C#, language C#, so there's probably some flag in there. It's impossible to read in light mode anyway. True. So we're gonna see if we can get a library, and I've used libraries before to do this. I don't remember which library I used. On this website, on this application, I have code blocks. Let's go find a code block. ASCII art. So I have code blocks on this site that are highlighting C# code here. And so I'll probably try and use that same library. So let's do that. I think it's just called like highlight.js. Code highlighting JavaScript. I'm pretty sure I just did this, found the first one. So we're gonna use this one. And we'll just get the CDN here. They tell us how to do it. Do the minified version. Add that to our terrible site. Close this here, just so I have a little extra space. Try order sometimes is really important, but let's format. All right, got highlight. And we're gonna have to go through again, so same thing we did here with the images. So let me abstract this into a function. Fix images. This method, this function's getting really gross. Fix images. So I want to pull out this whole thing, and we'll call it div. EL for element, and put this down here, and article div just becomes L, and we replace this with fix images L. Make sure things are still functional. Did my images still load up? No, I broke it. And that's because I need to also pass in, there's no base URL anymore. Base URL. Or is it just URL? Data. I need to pass in data. Okay. Will that do it? No, what am I? All right, let's go back. My refactor has failed. Let's go back in time. Okay. I'm trying to write fix images. Need an element. I need data. I'm a little surprised that this doesn't work. If I call fix images article div data, did I put L there before? No, this still breaks. This is fascinating to me. Oh, now I'm not passing data. Thank you. Thank you in the chat, saving me from myself. There we go. Just to get that be a little bit less horrific. All this in one giant thing is really horrific. All right, and then again, raw vanilla JavaScript. Who's crazy enough to do that? Apparently I am. All right, so now we're gonna do function highlight code. Same thing. We'll take in an element here. So after we fix the image, we're gonna highlight code. Ooh, and really, oh, I do. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I know, I am, because I need to get all of the, should I be using jQuery instead? You know, who's crazy enough to use get elements by tag name? Clearly I am. Highlight code, article div as well. It's gonna be very similar to this code. We're gonna get code blocks, I believe. Let's look at what the documentation says to do here. There's a query selector all IMG. What's the difference? All right, so I'm being told that there is query selector all. Returns a static, not live node list representing a list of the documents. So I don't want to get the whole document. That's the thing. I only want to get, can I do it for a single element? Specifically, I want to get it off of this element. I probably can. But like, so this selector would be, yeah. So I think you're saying that it can do stuff like this, where I put the hash in there. Okay, so yeah, it's essentially what jQuery used to be. Yeah, multiple ways to do it. Let me ask, or let's look up, is this deprecated? Is this deprecated? It's not deprecated. Yeah, but using CSS syntax, yeah. So it would be a little bit easier. And all right, so let's use that for my, well, let's look at what the renderer does for us here. And I broke data here, fix images. I don't need this data down here. I'm getting myself off here. All right. All right, let's get my code working again. All right, so let's look at my code blocks. All right, in my code blocks, it's a pre-code, and it's specified class. Yeah, so I can't do it by class here, but I can do it, so I have to do it by tag. But you're saying I can do query select door all. Let's see what this does. And this shouldn't be images, to be codes, code blocks for block, console.log, just for funsies to see what it gives us. Hey, look at that. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, let's see. This is gonna do something. I actually don't want it to apply to anything that doesn't have a class on it. Serpenut X, arg my eyes. Yeah, it's the world's worst blog. Are you saying arg to the code? Arg to the code. I know. I wasn't kidding. So is it arg to the code or to the layout? They're both pretty bad. They're both pretty bad. I know. But the idea is, hopefully, we'll get better. We're growing. We're learning. We're getting better. I appreciate the support here. Yeah. So we'll add a dark mode. I promise. We'll add a dark mode that is also terrible, but maybe a little less terrible on the eyes. Why not both? Yeah. Both the code and the site itself look horrible. I'm aware. I'm being honest. That's why I say it's the worst blog, the world's worst blog. Okay, let's get these code blocks highlighted. Let's look at highlight.js usage. So I don't want to do highlight all. Instead, this will find and highlight code inside of pre-blocks. For the dark mode, just put an invert filter on the body. Oh, that's not a bad idea. See, look, I'm not a web developer. I'm getting all these. I'm so glad I'm live streaming right now. I'm getting all these great tips. Just put an invert filter on dark mode. Yeah, that's a good idea. Load only a common language. Let's see here. Highlight code with a specific language. I want to highlight a specific element. Okay, so I should be able to do this. Oh, it's a great idea. It's brilliant. No. So now they're taking it back. So it's ancient. So it's ancient. Here, let me get the chat over here so people can see what's going on. It's people who are tuning in later, so I'm actually streaming to YouTube as well. So I've been told that dark mode, just invert the filter. And I think that's a brilliant idea because it's the world's worst blog. Don't you think that's a brilliant idea for the world's worst blog? I don't want it to be usable. Are you crazy? All right, HLJS. Do I just get this for having put stuff in there? Let's see how crazy this is. Block. Let's see if that does anything useful. Oh look, it's quite a bit nicer. Okay, that might be all I need. It fixes these like really gross long ones. For now, that was surprisingly simple. Great, the nice little library. Surprisingly simple. And my code blocks now should have like the giant one. There was some pretty gnarly ones. Yeah, like now it has these scroll bars. Sweet. Yeah, these look nice because I didn't write the code. I'm using a library. So something I always tell my students, so beginner programmers often don't realize that when you write software, you almost never write any of your own code. Unless you're working, so I've worked for some private companies before, and companies where you had to program everything. You weren't allowed to use anything outside of the organization, which was a nightmare. So if I wanted something like this, someone inside the organization would have had to create whatever we were trying to do. I didn't understand that. It was horrible. But literally, you know, what's the saying? There's nothing new under the sun. And I believe that is pretty much true with programming. Someone else has tried to do what you are doing and done it better than you, and it's been debugged. So go find it. So the question I ask students, the question I often ask myself is, wouldn't it be cool if some, you know, X, wouldn't it be cool if X already existed? And the answer 99% of the time it is. And then you go and find it and you can use it. Okay, site's looking reasonable. Reasonable is a strong word. It's looking not horrible. This is looking not horrible. Yeah, I'm sure no one's written an API wrapper for your specific private chatting app, but I'm sure someone's written API wrappers for various chatting apps. But yeah, that's what I said, 99% of the time. Good point, though. All right, this is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with where we are here. It is, I have a site, kind of. I have, all right, let's do a commit. Let's do a commit here. Get status, get add, get status. All right, so what did we change here? Let's look at this, get reset. Let's get our changes real quick. Just so we can try and maybe break this into multiple, you know, make it a giant commit like this. I'm the only one on the project, so I guess it's okay. But let's pretend like we want to be good programmers. So I'm gonna add my scripts here, and the commit on this one is a feature commit. Add, highlight, code, and fix images. Okay. And then I have to add that to my add everything else. All right, now we're gonna add the filter invert. Get commit real quick. Get status. Get commit dash m. Chore, add styling to make site beautiful. Okay, let's add a dark mode. All right, push my code. Let's add a dark mode in, what is it in CSS? All right, so we can do a thing, so I can never remember. CSS add dark mode. How to make dark mode. Do I really want to read this whole site? Isn't there, can I do it with just CSS? Pretty sure I can do it in just CSS, or, well, I don't want to toggle. Operating system level. Pure CSS. Okay, here it is. I can do something like this. All right, so I think styles. And does this go inside of any kind of tag? All right. Remove unusual line terminators. Thank you. Dark mode filter. Invert. Is it just dash? Is it just invert? 100%. It doesn't seem to like that. HTML. I have to put it, that makes sense. I have to put. Oh, this is gonna be good. I think I am on dark mode by default, aren't I? How am I not on dark mode? I definitely am on my laptop. All right, and just for fun here, here's what it should look like. Here's what dark mode will look like. I'll have to add a toggle to the site. Oh yeah, look at that. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Oh, it does it to the images too. Oh, Oh man. Oh man, that's good. Oh. I think I'm just gonna leave it. Don't you think? Don't you think this is the best we can possibly hope to have? Oh my goodness. Alright, I'm gonna leave it like that for now. I better add a comment in here. To do, don't. It's the to do, don't. We're not gonna do this. Alright. I have, alright, beautiful. We can add in a feat. Get status, get add, get commit, feat, implement the best dark mode. Perfect. I've been going for a while this morning. I need to go eat breakfast. 9 a.m. here. I haven't eaten breakfast. Thank you guys for hanging out and chatting with me. It's been fun. Thank you for helping me code. I hope maybe there was something learned here. I will post a link to my code in the chat if anyone wants to go. If anyone wants to go, give me a code review on it. The one thing that you might say is like, don't post your API key, but just, you know, it's a Firebase API, so it's a public API key. This is the public API key. The best dark reader extension. Write an extension is like dark mode on any site. Beautiful. All right, so if anyone wants the source code, here's a link to the source code. All right, I am done for now. Again, thanks for hopping in. Thanks for staying. Thanks for chatting with me. This was fun. Have a